Do not avert your gaze from the hypnotic carbon fiber of the TS90-CF. Yeah, it looks like some interesting elliptical pattern because of the way that they ended up cutting this. Yes, this is the TS90. Good old slip joint from NightMorning Design here. And I do think this was kind of a later edition. I think the original one was in titanium, but same nice contouring and everything. But hey, this one's carbon fiber, and this one's become a lot more produced than I've seen than the initial titanium variant of it. It's got quite the large matchstick pull sort of thing. It's difficult for me to get a grab on it way out there, but you know, anywhere in the middle works out pretty well. This thing has a pretty darn strong spring on it. You can definitely hear that walk and talk. So yeah, I would probably call that 7.5, maybe an 8 for that. It's a pretty strong spring there. And yeah, that does give you a lot of protection from it trying to fold down on you. I guess if you do kind of choke up here a bit, it might not bite you quite as much due to the sharpening choil there, but it'll probably still get you. This is definitely one of TwoSun's kind of older offerings as far as as far as knives go. I mean, this was, you know, pre-100 model sort of thing. And as such, this thing's blade geometry is a bit obtuse. It's fairly darn thick behind the edge. I've basically reground this to a 15-degree edge, but I haven't done it on a angle sharpening system like the KME or the precision edge or anything, because I had a problem with this blade not being tall enough and trying to clamp up here or anything like that with either of the clamps from the KME or the precision edge. Just had a lot of blade rock back and forth to the point where I really couldn't trust it to get that angle. It probably wouldn't be all that bad if I did try to clamp it up there a little bit, but I would have to also change my angle of sharpening to like 20 to 22 degrees or something like that, which is way too obtuse for what I want for this kind of steel. That steel being M390, as we can see way over here. It does have a very reverse Tonto-ish sort of style to it. It does have probably quite a bit of similarities to the Benchmade 940 now that I think about it. You know, obviously my Benchmade 940 is a little stubbier than the usual ones, but yes, it is over 20 years old. I've carried it many years of that. So it's gone through quite a few sharpenings. But yeah, you can see it's got the same kind of blade profile sort of thing going on there. A little less of a swedge in the top. Okay, a lot less, but yeah, this has a very strong backspring to it. And mine in particular, sorry, I apparently had a cut on my leg I wasn't realizing was there. But yeah, the backspring sort of thing on this, it is the ones that came with it. And it does sit a bit proud of those scales. I haven't seen that on a whole lot of other ones, so I'm guessing that's probably just mine. I don't know. Maybe they used the wrong length screw accidentally when assembling this sucker or something like that. But Yeah. Speaking of assembly or disassembly, do not take this apart. the the titanium variant you probably have a little bit better time with, but yeah, with this post back here, and that's providing a lot of strength onto that lock bar that also doubles as the lanyard hole. I think that's acceptable. And it has quite a few. There's like either 3 or 4 pins in there as well, and they are ridiculously difficult to get everything to line back up with. And you don't have steel or titanium liners in here. You just have the holes drilled on the carbon fiber. So unless you get that thing perfectly centered and everything like that, which took me very, very many attempts, then they're not actually falling into the holes and being clamped together properly, and you're just making the holes probably larger than they need to be on the inside there, which might give you a little bit of slop or whatnot. It is really robust, so I mean, once I got it back together, it's all sorts of great. But yeah, and this is definitely one I would suggest not disassembling unless you absolutely need to for some sort of maintenance there. So yeah, I did mention the blade geometry on this particular little son of a gun, and that also translates to the blade stock thickness here, which I guess I'm a little bit wrong on. This is 3.5. I could have swore this was 4. It definitely looks like it here in the handle, but okay, so yeah, 3.5 millimeters. But it's kind of a mid-flat grind. Like 2/3 up there, and yeah, the blade geometry really does come down pretty obtusely. Now I have sharpened this down to 15 degrees on my Ken Onion work sharp blade grinding attachment, blah blah blah, whatever. But that essentially takes that obtuse angle and adds a shoulder onto it, but you still have all this meat behind there, unless you really want to do a full regrind on there, which is some completely different service that I certainly don't have the capability to do myself. It's something that you send out for other people to do, if that's something that actually bothers you. So yeah, just keep that in mind. This one was from their earlier days where they've had thicker grinds and whatnot on a lot of their knives. Yeah, I did scuff up a little bit of that, and this is basically one of the only that I've actually scuffed up while sharpening with the belt grinder. And it was basically because the grind on this is a lot thicker than everything else that I've done so far. So yeah, that was just kind of a fun little thing about this guy. But I mean, the handle itself, really nice and comfortable. You got like a 3.5 finger grip here, or if you want to choke up, then you have definitely a full 4-finger grip. Also a nice place to throw a lanyard on there if you do want something else for your pinky to fully wrap around and you have the larger hands. Normal hands, this would probably be a 4-finger knife, holding it where you have the finger cutouts for and everything. I do like this guy quite a bit. It might sound like I might be harping on it a little bit. It's a little old as far as TwoSun goes, so they have definitely stepped up their game as far as newer models, manufacturing processes, and whatnot. But there's a lot of good stuff going for it. It's got a nice blade length on it. Let's see what that actually might be. 2.88 inches. So yeah, under that 3-inch thing. Definitely nice and light with the carbon fiber on there. And this isn't a crazy high gloss carbon fiber. So it does do a pretty darn good job of not showing every little tiny nick and scratch and blemish and everything, which carbon fiber can certainly develop over time. So that's certainly nice. We do have an internal blade stop, so you're not going to have any blade wrap when you're slamming this thing closed or doing any of those fidget things like having it in your pocket and like to squeeze on it or whatever. That's not going to cause the blade to hit the backspring or anything like that. So that's absolutely fantastic. It does have a nice contour to it. That does make it thick, however. How thick? About that thick. So 0.53 of an inch, thereabouts. So it is actually a little tiny bit thicker in, you know, obviously the very largest swell there in the middle than a paramilitary 2. And this thing does not have a pocket clip that comes with it. But this thing would be a pretty darn good thing for a pocket slip, though. Wouldn't be bad in general. Maybe one of those MKM ones that are like, what, 25, 30 bucks? Nice leather with the little magnetic thing over there. You can slip that onto your pocket. I don't know, whatever. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. But yeah, as far as a slip joint goes, this thing is definitely ground a little bit more hardcore for a harder use kind of thing, even though the rest of the knife doesn't kind of stick up to that. But otherwise, I really do like it. Like I said, they do also make this in a titanium variant. I haven't seen it for sale for quite a while, but I have seen other people sell them. So I do know that they exist. And they have the same geometry and all that sort of stuff. They're probably just a little bit easier and more robust to put back together if you have done the dirty and actually taken it apart. So, all right. Well, yeah, this was fun. Also, I always like a reason to bring out my good old Benchmade 940. But, all right, yeah, that's everything that I would like to mention and talk about here on the TS90. So, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.